Ride the signal through the unknown. This is the cryptic current.
Today's story will begin with this very familiar illustration. This painting was created in 1965 and often appears alongside Darwin's theory of evolution. Its main purpose is probably to make us understand that it depicts the process of apes gradually evolving into humans. But in reality, this illustration also poses a question for the theory of evolution. Simply put, the problem is that there are 15 human-like species in the picture. Why have 14 species gone extinct, leaving only us humans surviving? Looking briefly at the picture, the leftmost figure is called Pliopithecus. This name means Pliocene ape, believed to be the ancestor of all human species. Human species here refers to various human races, chimpanzees, and apes. The next type is called proconsul, the ancestor of humans and apes among human species. In the middle is the southern ape man, considered our ancestor. The upright man is called uncle, Neanderthal man is called cousin. Cro-Magnon man belonging to Homo sapiens is considered our brother. The rightmost figure is us, called modern humans, also Homo sapiens. Of these 15 human species, 14 types are gone extinct. On Earth today, regardless of skin color, we all belong to one human species. There are no longer any of our brothers existing on Earth. However, other animal species, for example, wolves, various cat species, they all have brothers coexisting on Earth. Why are humans so special? Since 1965, the problem posed by this painting has not yet been accurately answered by anyone. Because they weren't. Their brain capacity was insufficient. Because they weren't. Had poor endurance and even practiced cannibalism. Still other scientists say they didn't know how to work. Had poor language ability. Couldn't understand abstract things. Lacked organizational skill. Regarding many theories. Today let's talk about 5 things that if Darwin were still alive, he probably wouldn't want you to know. Perhaps you might discover some clues from this. Hello everyone, I am Miss Ruby. Scientists say that brain size can roughly reflect IQ level. The larger the brain capacity, the higher the IQ. So what does the Boskop man with such a large brain make you think of? Does it resemble the alien race Brodot in science fiction movies? Regarding the story of Boskop man, it goes roughly like this. In 1913, 2 villagers were fighting. The location was in Oslo, South Africa. The 2 jumped into a ditch and started fighting. As a result, they stepped on some broken bone fragments resembling human bone. Suddenly both became tense and stopped fighting. The 2 carefully cleaned and observed them, only to discover it was a skull. The next day, they brought these bone fragments to the Port Elizabeth City Museum and handed them over to the person in charge. The naturalist in charge, Simon, said, "This could be the fossil of some mysterious ancient person that even he himself could not identify." So he sought out paleontologist Sidney Horton. This paleontologist, after 2 years of research, announced in 1915 a discovery that the brain capacity of this mysterious ancient Oslo people was very large, approximately 1,830 cc to 2,030 cc, while ordinary people have 1,370 cc, and geniuses like Einstein has slightly more, 1,400. Not long after, 2 British anatomists, fascinated by this event, joined the skull research. They reconstructed the skin and skull bones, and determined the exact brain capacity to be 1,980 cc. This number really seems like it's telling a joke. It feels as if the Boskop people view Einstein the way we view monkeys. At that time, a famous anthropologist Lauren Isley, after seeing the Boskop skull reconstruction, left the following note. "This is the appearance of future people. Big heads, small eyes, small jaws. They are smarter than you." It turns out that future people lived in South Africa, but at least in South Africa from several years ago. It turns out that similar ancient human fossils have been found in many places in South Africa. By 2008, 2 neuroscientists again emphasized in their book, The Brain, the Origin and Future of Human Intelligence. The Boskop people were very intelligent. Their average IQ could reach 180, while Einstein's was 146. Modern scientists cannot explain this strange existence of the Boscor people. So they say they are actually just deformities of modern humans. They belong to the carnivore race. Setting aside scientific conclusions for now, let's use our imagination a bit. Humans took 12,000 years from primitive society to reach our current level of science and technology. So what about those miraculous Boscor people? Even the deficient among them could be like Einstein. So if they started 10,000 years earlier than us, what technological peak would they have reached by now? Maybe they've already reached a level of G or so? Therefore, could there really be a group of Boscor people on that G star secretly observing us humans? It seems that the Protoss race in science fiction novels might not be baseless. These are real human skulls excavated in the Caracas region of Peru. Look at the reconstruction images of these skulls. What are you thinking? The story behind it is quite unbelievable. We'll briefly introduce it. In 2014, an alien enthusiast named Masuli stated that he had sent some Caracas human skull samples to 3 independent laboratories in North America for testing. 1 in Canada, 2 in the United States. All 3 laboratories reached the same conclusion. The maternal mitochondrial DNA of the sample originated from the paternal mitochondrial DNA of the sample has some mutations not found in humanity. Alien enthusiasts and experts added these 2 conclusions to Earth's chronicles, creating an extremely astonishing story. They say these skulls are all descendants of the Anunnaki. Their mothers were all Mesopotamians. Their fathers were all aliens from Nibiru. 2,000 years ago, the Anunnaki came from Cozumel to South America, where they built their final fortress. This exactly matches the prophecy Sitchin wrote in the Earth Chronicles. The Paracas skulls are archaeological evidence of the Anunnaki. Actually, as early as 1928, archaeologists had discovered these Paracas skulls. But scientists said these skulls were just deformed local people. 800 to 2,000 years ago in history, ancient local people had the custom of elongating children's skulls. But enthusiasts and experts in the field spoke up again, saying this was not actually deformation. Deformation cannot make brain capacity become larger. And the brain capacity of these skulls is at least 25% larger than that of normal humans. Moreover, they presented even more convincing evidence. A normal human skull is composed of 2 bone plates, but this skull is clearly formed from 3 plates. Therefore, this is fundamentally not a normal human. Even more unbelievable things were yet to come. In 2017, enthusiasts and experts also announced the discovery of some alien mummies, related to the Paracas people, called the 3-fingered aliens. The females are very large, while the males are very small. Back to the present, what do you think about the Paracas people? Are they descendants of the Potskop people, evidence of the Anunnaki, or just a hoax? Let's continue exploring these issues together. On the small islands of southern Indonesia, there has always been a legend about Ibu Kota. It is said that deep in the forest lives a mysterious group of dwarfs who look like normal humans, except their height is only half that of humans. With each step, their bodies sway left or right. They are gluttonous, cruel, enjoy eating raw meat, and even bite off the fingers of ordinary people. They appear pitiful, always timid like little girls. But absolutely do not be deceived by their pitiful appearance. Grandmother who eats everything. Since the 1970s, scientists have always wanted to find out exactly which species of monkey on the island is mentioned in the legend. By 2004, an astonishing discovery was made on the small island named Flores. In October of that year, the Indonesian scientific research team in collaboration with Australia found the remains of 7 dwarves in a cave called Deng Bua. Their bodies were no more than 1 meter tall, not belonging to any known species. This is a very mysterious ancient human species. Preliminary estimates suggest it lived between 12,000 and 95,000 years ago. In other words, this mysterious dwarf species very likely coexisted with the ancestors of modern humans for a very long time. It seems the legend of Ipu Kogo on the island is not without basis. Later, in a public presentation, the research team directly called them hobbits. Because from a scientific research perspective, they are very similar to the widely known hobbits in the West. Gentle, short stature, knew how to use fire, used sophisticated stone tools, had straight, slender feet, and were very good at long-distance walking. Their physical characteristics are basically similar to humans, and they likely even had a relatively developed language system. The most amazing thing is that Flores Island, where they were discovered, is also where the Komodo dragon was found. It is very large, the largest lizard species in the world. Currently, the largest one discovered is 3.3 meters long. Fossil evidence also shows that these dwarves once hunted Komodo dragons on the island. Could this be the real-life hobbits and giant dragons? In scientific terminology, these dwarves are called the Flores people. Scientists once speculated that they once dominated much of the Earth, competing with modern humans for a long time. Moreover, it is very possible that until just a few thousand years ago, they were still living on the islands in Indonesia. However, the latest research in recent years suggests that they likely went completely extinct 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. The cause of extinction was due to the eruption of a supervolcano in Indonesia, leading to global climate change. In this catastrophe, the number of modern humans remaining worldwide may have been only about 20,000. After learning about the mysterious dwarves, we will continue with the mysterious giant race. Legend has it that, long ago, there was a lost continent in the Pacific Ocean. On that continent existed the civilization of Time. This civilization had a capital located on a high mountain at the westernmost point of the lost continent. Later, this continent sank and disappeared. Its territory became many islands, stretching across the Pacific Ocean as it is today. The high mountain where its capital was located is present-day Taiwan. In fact, in 2008, a Taiwanese fisherman recovered a fossil of an ancient human's lower jaw in the Penghu archipelago. This fisherman sold the fossil to a collector. The collector sought out research experts at the Natural Science Museum. The research expert immediately proposed two hypotheses. 1. This fossil belongs to some mysterious type of ancient human. The lower jaw is very long. The teeth are also very big, indicating they might be a giant human race. 2. This fossil was not brought by ocean currents, but they were ancient humans who once lived in Penghu. Soon after, this fossil fragment was named Penghu 1. To this day, scientists have not reached a final conclusion, temporarily naming it a Penghu primitive human Homo modizhuangdanus. Some scientists believe that the Penghu primitive human belongs to ancient humans, living mainly in East Asia or Homo erectus, closely related to Peking man and other primitive humans, with a not very tall stature, about 1.6 meters, weighing 60 kilograms, similar to modern humans. Other scientists say they are prehistoric humans from over 40,000 years ago, who migrated from the Asian continent to Taiwan. Taiwan at that time was a paradise with large numbers of elephants, buffalo, and a pleasant climate. But there are also scientists who believe they are a completely new ancient human race, because their lower jaw is very similar to the largest primates, the great apes. Therefore, they are considered a giant ancient human race, different from any known human race. Their bodies were very large, capable of easily hunting elephants, buffalo, and even crossing shallow seas and glaciers. Currently, this fossil fragment is preserved at the Natural Science Museum. If you are interested, we can take a trip to Taiwan, which will surely satisfy you. Could the Penghu primitive human be the giants of the lost continent in legend? Similar to the evidence of dwarves in Indo legend, there may still be many Penghu primitive human fossils lying at the bottom of the sea, waiting for us to uncover this mystery. Next, let's learn about the ancient human race that, to this day, still leaves at least 2% of its mark in each of our bodies. Origin of species. At this time, in Kurondik, in the Neander Valley, many mysterious human skeletons were continuously excavated. They have prominent brow ridges, sloping foreheads, very sturdy hand and foot bones. Even the finger bones are different from normal humans. At that time, the theory of evolution was rising. and humans still had no concept of ancient humans. However, these mysterious skeletons, along with Darwin's theory, were challenging European beliefs. It turns out that in the past, ancient humans had lived on Earth. Later, scientists named this ancient human race Neanderthals. From Neanderthals, we mainly discovered 10 quite astonishing things. First, 7 to 10,000 years ago, when our direct ancestors, Homo sapiens, were still hunting antelope on the African savanna. Neanderthals were already hunting mammoths in Europe and the Middle East. First, Neanderthals had a very European-like appearance, with long hair, red hair, and white skin. But recent genetic studies indicate that East Asians seem to carry more Neanderthal genes than Europeans. Second, Neanderthals had a larger brain capacity than modern humans, about 1,600 cc. While modern humans average only 1,370 cc, this suggests they might have been more intelligent than us. Third, Neanderthals might not have had eyebrows that only prominent brow ridges, and also lacked a distinct chin. Fourth, Neanderthals used animals for sacrifices, perhaps due to beliefs in some primitive religion. Fifth, Neanderthals knew how to care for the elderly, women, and children, showing early signs of civilization. Sixth, Neanderthals had knowledge of music and painting. In excavated artifacts, murals and flutes made from their bones have been found. Seventh, they preferred to eat meat, but were later forced by Cro-Magnons to switch to vegetables, mushrooms, and even cannibalism. Cro-Magnons, as mentioned earlier, were the intelligent human group considered siblings to modern humans that were exterminated. Eighth, Neanderthals and Cro-Magnons had both affection and conflict, eating each other's flesh and also interbreeding. Ninth, about 5.5 thousand years ago, when the Ice Age ended, the Neanderthal body structure like large noses and cold tolerance, abundant fat and thick hair became disadvantages as the climate warmed. Finally, Neanderthals were gradually slaughtered by human groups with bodies for summer combat like Cro-Magnons and modern humans. Pursued to the end. Scientists believe, based on many wounds on Neanderthal bones, it can be inferred that they didn't know how to use throwing weapons. Modern humans and Cro-Magnons used spears, bows and arrows, and some thrown to eliminate them. When Neanderthals were cornered, cannibalism occurred. And, although Neanderthals had very large brain capacity and were very intelligent, their larynx structure might have limited language development. Simple language hindered the exchange of ideas among them, preventing them from developing civilization, and also limited understanding of abstract concepts, hindering their ability to organize large-scale coordinated activity. Surprisingly, Neanderthals once had many offspring with us, leaving behind many genes. For example, our cold tolerance genes also originate from Neanderthals. Today, we can suffer from diseases like depression, allergies, blood clotting disorders, diabetes, and urinary tract problems. These issues are all caused by hidden Neanderthal genes in our bodies. Scientists also say that atavism in us might be a regression to Neanderthal ancestors. In Mongolian and white people's genes, up to 45% even comes from Neanderthals. For example, Russian professional boxer Nikolai Valyubin over 100 years ago. There was French professional wrestler Maurice Hiller. They're considered the closest living fossils to Neanderthals. Compare these two living fossils with normal people. It's hard to imagine how 5.5 thousand years ago we could have eliminated the Neanderthals. I don't understand why after completing this exercise, two issues arose in me. First, if what we learn and are taught is correct, then humans should have evolved more and more. And by our modern times, we should have been the most evolved. But why, based on actual evidence discovered, does it seem not to be the case? But even the opposite? And an evolution theory without any evidence to prove it is included in textbooks that teach generations, while obvious facts before our eyes are overlooked. Second, Darwin himself once said that if my theory of natural selection had to rely on the process of mutation to be explained, I would discard it as a dream. So what do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments below the video. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Goodbye and see you again. Subscribe to the Amigo channel so you don't miss exciting videos.
If the signal hooked you, subscribe and catch the next ripple.